All right, so Morgan and I decided to go ahead and record this. I couldn't find a video about this online, so she's already crawled underneath there and pulled the plug. We got the fluid draining. It's almost done. Once that gets done, we'll pull the pan and change the sensor. We'll show you all that. All right, Morgan and I are underneath the truck. We drained all the fluid. Morgan drained all the fluid. Now we gotta take all these bolts out of the pan. Some of them are a little bit of a pain to get to. I did watch a video of somebody changing the fluid, which we have done before. I didn't use an impact last time, but he did. So I've broke them all loose. I'm gonna use an impact to take the rest of them out, except for the ones I can't get to with an impact that are back up in behind the exhaust pipe. So that's what we'll be doing next. We'll take all these bolts out, drop the pan, drain the rest of the fluid into the bucket, and then we should be able to access the speed sensor, and we will show that next.
Make sure you're careful.
Why do you find this funny? I'm getting transmission fluid all over
All
me.
over you.
This is not in my hair. All right, so we got the whole pan off. It was a mess, by the way. We got fluid all over us. I didn't really see a better way to do it, but you can see there's fluid everywhere. We're gonna go ahead and replace the transmission filter while we're under here. This is the speed sensor. You got that on film, Morgan? This right here. I've already taken it off. This is the old one. Morgan reminded me that I didn't film that, but this is the old one. This is the new one. There's a star bit that goes right there. Unscrew the screw, pull it out, and then it clips into the harness right here. And just tuck the harness back up there where it was at. Then we're going to screw this back in. And then we're going to change this filter. We're going to have to change our gasket because it has a crack in it over here. Luckily we weren't leaking any fluid, but I noticed there's a crack in it over here, so we're gonna, oh, there you go. There's the crack right there. So we're gonna replace this. We had to run to the store and buy a filter. So we will be back once we get it all done. All right, Morgan and I got the new filter on. It's just the there's 3 screws. There's one there, there's one there. This one in the front right here next to the hole is longer than the other 2, so keep that in mind. That one up there is a longer screw than this one and this one. So we got that put back on, got the screws tightened. We got our new sensor put back on. So just take that star screw out, and that sensor pulls out of the housing of the transmission, and then you just route the wire. It just kind of tucks back up under on the top of this right here, and then it plugs in over here. It just plugs into this wiring harness back up in here. So that's all done. Now comes the fun part. We did this last year when we changed the fluid and filter last year. Getting this pan back on here with a new seal is a pain. I have not figured out a good way to do that. I've got it laying out in the sun right now, so it'll get a little pliable and kind of lay on there better, but it's a pain to get the pan and the seal back up in here and keep the seal from falling off, the gasket from falling off the pan. So we're obviously not going to film that, but that's what we're working on next. We're not looking forward to it because you got to make sure you get the seal on there and get a screw through every hole of the gasket, the seal. So that's what we're about to start working on. All right, Morgan and I finally got the pan back on, and it was a bit of a pain as usual. We just kind of went one screw at a time and made sure the bolt went through the gasket holes. We just worked our way around, all the way around one at a time, just trying, kind of making sure that the bolt went through the gasket hole and then screwing it in, and it seemed to work pretty good. We started at this end and went to that end. I might would have done that differently because those down there, once we got down there, was a pain. It might be easier to put those in first, but we got all that done, got it cleaned up best we could, made sure the drain bolt was in there snug, and now we're putting the fluid in. Harley's under here helping us. Ain't you, Harley? So we've started putting the fluid in. So far we got 5 quarts in. And about to have her started up. We're going to let it run for a few minutes and run it through some gears. And then keep checking it until it gets full. I read online that it should be around 7, a little over 7 quarts. So we've got 8 quarts, and I put 5 in. We're gonna crank it up, run it through gears, and we'll keep checking it and filling it until we get it to the proper fill line. All right, so Morgan and I got the speed sensor situation completed, speed sensor job completed. So I wanted Morgan to kind of tell y'all what our truck was doing, why we decided it might be the speed sensor. So what was it doing again?
It was not shifting gears right or at all, really. I don't know how to describe it. Like, it was, how do you want me to describe it? Like, when you go to accelerate, then it would kind of just shut down and the RPMs would start going all over the place. And you try to accelerate again and you go and then you slow down. It would slow down a lot by itself.
Yeah,
without me pressing the brake. I'll try to accelerate and then it would just kind of shut down on me a little bit.
Yeah, so you're telling me that you would pull out and then accelerate and it would start changing gears, but then it might change back to a lower gear on its own, just randomly changing gears on its own, RPMs running up on its own and down on its own, just some weird stuff. I did a bunch of reading online and come to the conclusion that it sounded like the speed sensor, and we got that job completed today. And Morgan has test drove it twice, and what did you say? It's what?
Shifts as smooth as butter.
She said it shifts as smooth as butter. So I guess it's fixed. We'll find out. All right, so just an update to the little situation we had going on with the 2014 F250 6.2 liter. So we had done the speed sensor and went in and changed the fluid. I mean, obviously put new fluid and changed the filter and everything while we were in there, hoping to make the weird gear shifting stop, because everything I read online kind of pointed that away, and that's what everybody said they started with. Got that done. She test drove it a couple times, said it ran good, better. But as she started driving it more, the problem wasn't going. It was still doing the same thing. So started reading more online, watching videos and reading stuff online. And the next thing that everybody pointed to was coil packs. So there's I thought was a tick. Ford has most Fords have a tick, or ones that I've had in the past have always had a little tick to it. Come to find out, the tick on these 6.2s is coil packs going bad, and they start arcing against the motor, and that's where the ticking comes from. So bought all the stuff, actually got a great deal, got coil packs and plugs online from Amazon for like $130. Didn't do the spark plug wires. I just used the same ones, but we did change all the coil packs and the spark plugs. I didn't video that because there are so many videos of people doing that I didn't feel like I needed to do a video. The only reason I did this one is because I couldn't find one of anybody changing the speed sensor. So you can go watch another video on how to do that. It wasn't very hard. It's about 4 hours because there's 16 plugs. The biggest pain, getting the little clips off of the coil packs. They're a lot harder than what people make out to be. They're like, pull the little red thing back and push down on it and it just pops right off. No, it didn't for us. Pull the little red thing back, and then I couldn't get it to push down. I ended up getting a screwdriver and kind of pushing down on it. You could hear it click, and then it would pop loose. So that was one takeaway. The popping, clicking noise that you hear is where the coil pack has failed, and then you'll find that we had 3 of ours that when we went to pull the coil pack off, it just came apart. Like half of it stayed down in the hole where the spark plug was. And it was a pain getting that out. I ended up squirting some WD-40 down there, letting it set for a few minutes. Took a coat hanger. I tried several things. I couldn't get needle nose to go down in there far enough. So I ended up taking a coat hanger and a screwdriver. I took a screwdriver and just kind of worked the boot loose because it actually like melts to the spark plug really. So I took a screwdriver, kind of pried that apart, and then took a coat hanger and bent made it like a little hook on the end of it. Reached down in there and pulled that out. That's what worked for me. But we got them all changed out. We just went and drove it. All the ticking is gone. It doesn't tick at all anymore. And runs great. We test drove it for quite a while. It didn't shift weird. No ticking. Drives great. So hope that helps somebody.